This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit the Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. And now I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free and each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Blast off! For the most wonderful science fiction fun and adventure a boy or a girl or a grown-up ever enjoyed. Meet
ML, Alec, and Shawn Windsor
as they encounter the fierce Martians. It's so exciting, so amazing, you'll want to tell all your friends about that wondrous day when Red-Faced Santa meets the green-faced Martians. You'll see it all when Joseph E. Levine presents
The Soul of Detroit.
You asked it around, get a toothpick around my shoe. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric, and am I the green-faced Martian? What? Is this some sort of racial thing you did with the intro there, Mark?
I don't see color.
Oh, you don't? You just see character?
I did hear that. Do you know that movie, Santa versus the Martians?
This is real?
Yeah.
Wow. This is one of the lesser-known Joseph P. Levine titles, but I do not know that movie.
I don't know if anybody knows that movie. I just found the trailer and it made me laugh. So.
Well, I know we will be talking about holiday movies, our favorites and some of our not-so-favorites on Christmas Eve, so tune in next week to get that special episode. But I did not know that. I wish I had known. I would have watched that to prepare instead of watching Love Actually again this weekend.
God, really? Never seen it.
I must say,
I don't like chick flicks.
I wasn't as excited about it as I thought I would be. I can't even believe I'm saying I thought I would be excited about Love Actually. But, I just remember being moved by Liam Neeson's pathos because he had just lost his wife and he was trying to raise her son. But at the end, he ends up with Claudia Schiffer. So I don't know why I was feeling sorry for Liam Neeson. In fact, Teresa and I were watching it and she's like, oh, it's so sad. I said, kind of worked out for him. And she's like, what are you saying? I said, if you get sick, I'll still stand by you. But if Claudia Schiffer's in the next room, may not hold your hand when they give you the last rites.
You want Copperfield sloppies, but yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about what an amazing illusionist he was? He made her think, hey, I'm a catch.
Not a good dude, by the way. Just saying. Okay.
Did we ever talk about his apartment of skank that he left behind in Manhattan?
I know about it, yeah, with all the water that came through and fell through, and yeah.
Right, he had like all these magicians, I think they call them apparatus or whatever it was, and all this weird stuff, and it was this incredibly valuable. Like at one time, maybe it was the most valuable penthouse or condo in New York, and then he let it go to shit, and all the neighbors are like, David Copperfield is ruining our building. Mm-hmm. He should have made them disappear.
Yeah, anyway.
Speaking of disappearing acts, Shawn isn't here.
Yeah.
But he is expected to join us later. He said he had to turn back to Ann Arbor to perform some duties for his wife. I don't know what that means, but this is a family show, so we'll just leave it there. And we are joined by a special guest, Steve Platto, who wrote Motor City Famous. If you have ever told somebody, J.K. Simmons is from Detroit, Eddie Cicotte is buried in Livonia, or any of those other things, Eddie Cicotte, of course, of the Black Sox scandal.
I was going to say, who knows that?
No, Steve, did you know that one?
I did not know that.
Okay, we're going to talk about Eddie Cicotte in a little while. Also, may be a distant relative of my plumber.
Oh, that's why I know it.
But no, I know it. I'll tell you the story later. It's fascinating. Shawn,
I don't have that much time.
Shawn won't be here to crap on me, so I'm gonna lean back and really give it a yarn. But Steve's got a great book. You can catch him this Saturday, the 21st, and he'll tell you where he'll not only sign the book, but he'll sell you as many copies as you want because they make a great gift idea,
fun book, yeah.
Particularly for somebody you know who's really into Detroit and likes to drop bon mots at parties or at bars or win trivia contests or bets or things like that. So we're going to get to Steve in just a minute. But first we want to thank the people who make it possible for us to come back every single week. That would be Mark Fellhauer, of course, who does our outstanding production and our intros and outros. This week was pretty strong, even though it didn't have that touch of genius that they normally have. And Luke Nowacki of Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. I'm going to be meeting with Luke this week to talk about some things like a Roth IRA. We'll let you know later on how you can connect with Luke yourself to set up a more secure financial future. Let him do the worrying. You just do the earning. He'll do the compounding. And then the Caju Cafe, which is a great place to get together with friends during the holiday. Really anytime, we'll tell you what's coming up at the Caju this week and how you can keep up with all the great eats, beats, and things to do there. Meets, maybe. You meet your friends there. And, of course, our most important and most valued sponsor is you. Because if you remember our soulmates, you give us a little bit of money each month through Patreon, and that keeps us coming back. It also gets you some exclusive benefits, like you can watch the show. We hope you're tuning in right now. You can get the show before anybody else. You get the show without those annoying insertion ads, which also bring us a little bit of revenue, so we apologize for that, but we got to do it. And it also allows you to I guess get it early, right? No insertion ads, you get to watch it,
mm-hmm.
and it keeps us coming back. So maybe that's the downside, but it's cool. We really appreciate it. So thanks to those of you who are soulmates. We have a new soulmate. We will be telling you about them later on in the show. And because this is a tease, I want to tease you. Erica Erickson will be back next month. If you are missing her on the show, watch her on Channel 4. She's doing dayside reporting, and she will be the queen of the night starting in January, which gives her Tuesdays to hang out with us here in the basement, which, what beautiful woman doesn't want to spend her Tuesday mornings with a bunch of nerds in a basement? Pretty much all of them dig that, right? I mean, that brings us back to David Copperfield and Claudia Schiffer. So now that we've come full circle, Steve, thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We read about Steve's book in the Free Press. Julie Hines wrote a great little write-up about where Steve is and what he's doing. But Steve, tell us how you came up with this idea and who we're going to find in this. Can I call it a tome? Is that
sure?
Okay.
Yeah.
In this tome.
Yeah. What really got me started was I was watching this Robin Williams documentary, Come Inside My Mind, and in it they had said that he went to country day school, and I guess I didn't know that at the time, but did a little digging and found that he went there, and I thought, well, wonder where the hell he lived, when he was around here. So, doing more digging, I had found that he lived in this spectacular house.
His dad was an auto executive, wasn't he? He was kind of a big wheel.
He worked for Lincoln Mercury, and they lived on this sprawling piece of property. If you know where Woodward kind of intersects with Opdyke, that corner there, that originally was 3 farms, and the guy that owned Darcy McManus and Johns, which was an ad agency.
Is that from the Man Whores Union? Yeah. Different McManus?
Maybe.
Okay. Luke, did you get that one?
Which was directly across the street. McManus owned this property, and it was 3 farms, and he built this huge mansion on it. 40-room mansion.
Jeez.
And after he passed away, a couple families lived there, and the Williams family ended up living there in the 60s, and Robin had the whole top third floor of the place. So
Was he locked up there because his parents he was driving him nuts?
Maybe.
Oh, hey, Mom, I guess we're having dinner. Oh, oh, dude, lock him in the
very
attic.
well have happened, yeah.
Did you meet any of his teachers? Were they traumatized from having this kid in their class?
In reading about him, I guess he was an exceptional student, a wrestler, and
that's right, in GARP.
Yeah, and he would come back occasionally and visit the school, and but so the house itself, there was a fire there in '84. House burned down.
Oh,
so it went to a developer who ended up developing that property. Now it's a couple of office buildings
and a gas station right on the corner there. Yeah,
but the whole perimeter of that property has the original stone wall around it.
Okay,
so that's all that's left there. There is the golf course there at one time was a part of it.
Is that Stonegate? Is that,
yeah, as well as St. Hugo of the Hills.
Wow, that's a huge area.
Yeah.
What's funny is I saw that same documentary and I looked it up too to find out where he lived. I didn't do that amount of research, but that's what spawned the whole book. I mean, just from that curiosity.
Yeah, and so I posted it on my Facebook page, and there was all kinds of interest in it, and I thought, well, I wonder who else lived around here. I mean, we all know. The Diana Rosses and Stevie Wonders and
Aretha Franklin,
Barry
Gordy,
Bob Seger, but I was kind of more interested, and they're all in the book, but I was kind of more interested in who else grew up here.
Yeah, I have a book from ages ago, but it was all Detroit centric. But you actually go outside, and it's called Motor City. Famous, right? It's the whole metro area because you do some Ann Arbor, and I live in Berkeley, so I always knew Marshall Crenshaw. I never knew exactly where, but now thanks for you doxing him. I know exactly where his house is.
Someday, some way, Steve was going to find him.
Yeah, and Booger from the police academy?
Revenge of the Nerds.
Revenge of the Nerds. Yep. I don't know why I'm confusing.
It's Mr. Armstrong.
Curtis Armstrong. Great.
He also
guy.
was great in Supernatural. If we have any Supernatural fans out there. No.
But the one I always drive by, and I pointed out I have a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old daughter. I'm like, that's where Elsa from Frozen grew up, right there. And I don't know, Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is I knew the one main house that's on Lincoln and Scotia, but she lived in 3 houses, which is so typical Huntington Woods.
Right. Yeah. Her parents divorced, so they kind of stayed in the area. But they kind of bounced around these 3 different houses, and she went to the Shrine.
Yep.
Okay.
Up there to high school, but yeah.
But how did you find that out? Because I could only find the one house. How did you know there were 3?
I did all kinds of research, whether it was, I got warranty deeds to houses on some people, like Valerie Bertinelli.
Up in Clarkston.
Couldn't find her house, and there was a newspaper article about her.
Did you just look up the hot chick, Steve?
Yeah.
Robin Williams. Do you think Robin was a woman's name? What's going on here, man?
Yeah, right. I also her in particular. I just I was on Ancestry. I just kind of went down rabbit holes till I found and connected the dots to the different parents and the homes. And
so you didn't just sit at a coffee table with a notebook. You burned some shoe leather. You did. I teach my students Goya Cod, get off your ass, knock on doors. You went out there and did some digging.
I put on like 20.
This is a tome.
Yeah, 2,300 miles on my car.
All business expenses.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, tax write-off this year. I spent a lot of time down in the Burton Library.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a great place.
Yeah, in the Detroit Public Library, this is the historical collection at the main branch. Some of the cool stuff you can find there is like phone books from like 1910, 1920. And at that point, they not only had your name, they had your profession and stuff in there, which is really, really great if you're doing that kind of research.
And that's where I found a lot of people because they did not show up in any other record. I knew they lived here, or I had heard they lived here, but couldn't verify it until I pulled out one of a real phone book which are tombs.
Yeah.
And that's how he was able to like track down some of these people.
Did you take the photographs
excellent.
of the house yourself?
Yeah. So I hate Google Maps. They always lead me like 10 miles, out of my way. So I had bought a big Detroit map. Once I found out where all the people lived, I kind of mapped it out on this paper map. And then my wife and I drove around and we kind of chunked off areas. And we would go and take pictures. And
I think my favorite photo might be the brick wall where Jimmy Hoffa the payphone was probably at, which is just so random. But I know that area. It's just, and I remember growing up, we would drive from Ann Arbor to Pontiac for Lions games. Every time we passed the Red Fox, my parents were like, "That's where Jimmy Hoffa was last seen." I'm like, I don't even know who that is. I'm 9 years old.
Right.
But you did a lot of work with Hoffa.
Yeah, and that was the hardware store where he went and made the phone call to his wife that said, these guys didn't show up today. What's going on? Do you know where they are? And
yeah, Chucky O'Brien's here with a green Pontiac. He said, "Get in the trunk, bitch,"
right.
Something like that.
Right,
Chucky. I'm only kidding. If you're still with us, I think he's dead, but I don't.
I think so.
I don't want to end up in the back of a Bonneville.
Right, but that one, it's. I speculated, but that was the original wall to the hardware store there at the end of the strip mall. And, there were old holes that were drilled at probably just the height of what would be where the payphone would be.
Yeah, that little alcove they would tuck them in. Yeah.
Yep. So, that could very well be where he made his phone calls.
Have you thought about doing a tour? Because I know there's Detroit historical tours where people get on a bus and they'll drive to places. And in fact, where's Shawn to say it's all about me? But we found out that the Detroit historical tour was taking people to the Anchor Bar, which was one of the last great journalism bars in America. And it was telling people, this is where Jim Schaefer and ML Elric first read Kwame Kilpatrick's text messages. Get the bell ready, which is absolutely not true. Not true at all. We did celebrate some stuff there, but that tour is very popular. And what you're talking about, I could see spending a day, just going around and
I love
and every
that kind
time
of
you
stuff,
see a Jimmy Hoffa site, you do a shot or something. And
yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, you could easily, you could do a few different tours.
Would you ever do a guided tour or perhaps create a curated list where it's like the most efficient route to hit some of the coolest spots?
Well, you could do an Eminem 8 Mile tour, everything from that movie, practically. I mean, all those sites. But there's, and then you have Eminem's house in the book, too, which...
One of them's been torn down. The one on Navarra, I think it is, on the east side.
Yep, that
burned down, I think.
It did. That's the one that's just below 8 Mile.
Yes.
And he sold off all the bricks from that house to a charity organization. I think they were $300 a piece or something like that.
It's not. I should have just grabbed one. I was there doing my research into Eminem.
Yeah.
But that's what's crazy. So many of these houses are just gone now, particularly in Detroit.
They are.
And not surprisingly, most of them are vacant lots. So it must have been a challenge in kind of picking out exactly where the house was or taking that picture.
Yep.
There's one house, it seems nondescript, and I'm like, I'm surprised there's no marker there. But the house where Malcolm X became Malcolm X and took over the Nation of Islam.
Detroit Red.
So there is now, that's going to be a museum.
It is, okay. Because the picture you have in the book, it just is, it's so nondescript. It's like, what is this house?
It is. And it was in pretty bad disrepair, but there's a group of people that have gotten together and are actually making that, I think it is actually a historic landmark now.
Okay.
Or it has that designation. And it's going to be a museum, so you'll be able to tour it and things like that. So, yeah, that's the one that's out by Metro Airport.
So, Steve, how did you make the decision to strike a balance between historically significant, culturally significant, pop stars, and were there some people who didn't make the list?
Yeah. So I ended up, I had kind of a criteria, like if you knew the name, just by name alone, if you knew what they did, like the guy that created Gumby. You wouldn't know his name, but everybody knows Gumby. or if you recognize something that they did, and it could be TV, movies, their radio voice people, where their voices.
Casey Kasem. Mm-hmm.
Yep, Casey Kasem.
Wayne State Warrior. Wayne State, great school.
Yep.
Anybody remember those commercials?
Yep.
Wayne State, great school.
But it's not just homes either. I mean, which, by the way, the craziest thing, and I had no idea this existed, and it's not even that old, hasn't existed that long, but there's a Michael Jackson burial plot, which is, did you know? Yeah, Elric's got a very confused look on his face, but
that look is not worth $5 a month, but you only see this look if you're a patron.
But I'm glad knowing that you've never heard of it either, because I had no idea this thing existed. Do you want to explain?
Michael Jackson's buried here, or just
there's a headstone?
It's crazy. So Woodlawn Cemetery, which is just below 8 Mile off of Woodward, where many Motown stars are buried. But when Michael Jackson died in 2009, the Motown Museum was engulfed in cards and flowers and stuffed animals
shrine.
And white gloves, and they didn't know what.
And the Elephant Man was there in formaldehyde. He visited.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had no idea, after a month or whatever, like, what are we going to do with all this shit? And
which fair question.
Yeah. So some people donated 2 crypts that were in Woodlawn Cemetery, and they took all of this memorabilia, they put them in coffins, buried them in the crypts, and there's a headstone there. If you go in the main entrance and off to the right, just past the office, there's a headstone that says Michael Jackson, and there's a little tribute blurb on it.
But there's no body in it.
But there's no body. He's not buried there, but all that crap is there.
And like Elric mentioned, Woodlawn Cemetery, where you're doing a signing on Saturday, December 21st. Who else is in Woodlawn? So when we come to see you, we can check out some other famous burial plots.
Yeah, in fact, I guess a lot of people go there because they've got like a celebrity map that you can pick up at the office. But
is that where George Papard is? Because I know Papard's in the book.
I think
Papard
Dearborn,
is in Dearborn.
Right? He's in Dearborn, okay.
In a little cemetery in Dearborn.
From the A-Team. Everybody remembers him.
Yep. Breakfast
After
at
the Tiffany's, yeah.
A-Team.
Yep.
The Blue Max.
Banachek.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then another burial spot I think you had a picture of in the book was the dad from Elf, Max Wright, which I had no idea.
Really?
I had no idea he's from here and he's buried here.
Yeah. So he's buried up in, if you know where Fenton is.
Sure.
He's all the way up there. Wow.
He's up in Linden is the name of it.
So is he from here, or did he marry somebody from here?
He's from Detroit. He grew up here in Detroit, Redford.
So your grave sites, with the exception of Michael Jackson, I guess there's a Motown connection there. They were buried here due to circumstance, or they were coming back to their home for a final resting place.
Well,
in the case of like George Papard, he wanted to be buried with his family.
Okay.
So the family, if you go to that cemetery, there's a big like family plot, and he is buried, I think, with his mom and dad and a sister, I think it is.
Okay.
Same with Max Wright. That's there's mom, a brother. I don't think the dad is buried there, but yeah.
And there are no cats near there either.
Not that I
it's
know.
It's a weird
of.
elf thing.
Yeah.
But,
so why is he all the way up in Linden?
Any elf fans out there?
Because that's where the family moved to after they lived down here in the Redford area. They had moved up there. The mom died up there, was buried up there, and then family members kind of.
And if you have old time Detroit families, like my great grandparents are married in Mount Olivet Cemetery. Well, it's about old dead people. That's one of the things this show is known for. It's actually our biggest demographic is people who've been dead for years. We just hope they stay tuned in so we get the download. But Mount Olivet is on the east side by City Airport. It's such an old cemetery that if you are buried there, only like your child can be buried there. So in the case of my grandma, who died almost 10 years ago at 96, when my grandfather died, they said, no, there's no room for him at your family plot. You can be buried there, but he has to be buried somewhere else. So their resting place is in Clinton Township, where they never lived and really didn't spend any time, which is kind of how I think these old time Detroit families end up in Linden or someplace where you're like, what's the connection? It's like, hey man, this is where we could find some ground.
Right? Wow. Yeah. But in those couple cases, that's where the family ended up. Okay. Living and dying.
And Eddie Cicotte is buried in Livonia. He was the pitcher
the guy from
who
the Black
helped
Sox,
orchestrate
right? Yeah,
the Black Sox
I remember hearing
scandal.
about him.
He was a Detroit guy. And if you go in Southwest Detroit, there's a Cicotte Street because they were kind of a old-time Detroit family. And after the Black Sox scandal, when his career was ruined, although I think he was kind of on his last legs, I think he came home to Detroit and sort of lived in ignominy and then was buried in Livonia. So are there any other scoundrels in your book, or are these people who all have some sort of
there's plenty of scoundrels.
Claim?
There are definitely
Who's
scoundrels.
the baddest dude in your book?
Baddest as in cool or evil?
Well, we got Michael Jackson bad. You can't beat that.
Right.
Well, and Stevie Wonder's in there. Won't spoil everybody.
He's not dead yet.
But bad.
Oh, he's home. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the dead
But
guy.
bad as in awful actually isn't
like villains.
Isn't in the book, but I found this out after I turned the manuscript in. We were at a family gathering, and I never thought, like when I started the book, that I would somehow be connected to one of these houses.
Okay.
But
I feel like we should have a drum roll.
It was quite a setup, yeah.
So our family was at a family gathering, and I have two brothers. And one of my brothers had mentioned that our nephew had just bought a house, and the other one said, "Oh, where?" And he named the street, and my youngest brother recognized that street as being where his best friend lived. Huh. And
his best friend Charles Manson?
Yeah. He went home and called the best friend and said, "Hey, my nephew is moving onto your street." And the guy said, "Oh yeah, which house?"
The Manson house?
Close. So he said, "Oh, it's such and such a house," and this guy, the best friend, said, "Well, you know who lived there, don't you?"
He got it really cheap.
Yeah. Eileen Wuornos,
the
serial killer.
Monster.
Yeah. Charlize Theron won a Best Actress Oscar for that.
It would have been cooler if Charlize Theron had lived there.
Yeah.
That's a little far east, I think, right? South Africa, is that east of here? I think so.
That's a little House of Horrors, really. I mean,
yeah,
because she had a really
twisted, warped childhood. So I mean, it's no wonder she ended up the way she was. But
so that one's not in this book.
That one's not. No.
In the introduction, you write about it seemed like a couple white whales. One is Sherilyn Fenn, who I think a lot of people know from Detroit,
Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah.
And Ken Jeong, who I didn't know was from here. So after the book is done, have people said, "Oh, I know where this person is. I know where this person is. And by the way, you missed this person, this person, this person."
Yeah,
well, that's got to happen. You must just keep like a list from people coming to you.
I do.
Hey, Steve.
I do. And
so sequel.
If there's ever a second edition, I could probably add another 20.
Okay.
20 people to it easily. And one is a guy that we can't avoid. But I hadn't heard until probably about a month ago that Snoop Dogg lived here.
He did?
Calvin Broadus?
I had no idea.
That's like peanut butter on jelly on gold.
God, that ad.
Snoop Dogg is everywhere. He's actually like the smell of marijuana. He's in your clothes now.
He was here in, I think, 85 and 86. His parents divorced. His dad was a mail carrier here. But he came for a couple of summers and lived here and worked at the McDonald's at 8 Mile and Greenfield.
What?
He worked the breakfast shift there during the summer.
I mean,
I'm blown away.
With those hash browns, I mean, that brings everything he loves together. Hash, food.
There you go.
I had never heard that before. That's crazy.
Wow. And so when did he move to Long Beach? Was he coming for the summer from Long Beach?
His parents divorced when he was young, and he went to live with his mom out in California.
Okay.
I don't know what the circumstances were that caused him to come back for a couple summers, but yeah, he ended up.
Steve, this book is fantastic, and we don't want to give away all of the names because we want you to buy this book. And Steve, how much does the book cost? And other than coming to see you at the cemetery on Saturday, if you missed that, this book is available. I'm sure ships in time for the holidays. You're at independent bookstores. You're at Book Beat and a bunch of other places. Yep. If you've never been to the East Side, there's a new bookstore there called Next Chapter Books. You might want to check those folks out. But where can people get this book if they don't see you on Saturday?
Yeah, it's you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It's also available in a lot of gift shops, like the Detroit shop in Somerset.
Oh, sure.
Some
think
of those
they may
ones
still carry the Kwame Sutra, by the way. If they don't, ask for it by name.
Yeah, any of those stores that kind of cater to Detroit merchandise, you'll find it there.
How much does it cost?
It's $24.99.
That's not bad. That's not. How many names are in it altogether?
There's 113 total.
So that's like what, 20 cents a name?
Is that what it works out to? Yeah.
I'm not so good at the math, but which is why I'm still in journalism. Like, we're making so much money. Like, oh shit, they just repossessed our car. Maybe we're not. But that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is a great gift for anybody you know who loves Detroit. For any of the expats out there, I can see mailing this to a relative somewhere and saying, hey, here's a little piece of Detroit. And by the way, in fact, I'm going to get a copy for my brother because every time this dude comes back to Detroit, he's like, what are we doing? I'm like, I feel like Julie friggin' McCoy. I got to come up with an itinerary. Like, how about this? Nah. How about this? Nah. How about this? Nah. But if I said, let's go to Calvin Broadus's McDonald's and get some breakfast, he'd be like, okay, I would do that.
I know.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the coolest Christmas gift. And if you have been shopping or you voted for Trump because of inflation, $24.99 is a pretty good price to get you off the hook with your hard-to-buy-for relatives. So, Steve, thanks for coming in, man. This is awesome. The book is Motor City Famous by Steve Platto. He is working on I'd go with the sequel. I wouldn't just update it, man. I'd get all the money from everybody a second time.
I can do some more digging.
Yeah, absolutely. And is there a way people can reach you directly or on social media to say, Steve, you missed this guy?
Hey, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, any of that.
What's your handle?
You can just reach me at Steve Platto on Facebook.
Yeah. So look for Steve. That's Plato. It's Motor City Famous. Steve, thanks for coming in. What a great book. It's such a great idea. I never would have thought of it, but I sure as hell wish I.
This holiday, BMW has reunited 3 members of the family at the BMW Road Home Sales Event. The Agile X3, engineered for any adventure. The plug-in hybrid X5, commanding the streets with unmatched presence. And the all-electric i4, charging into the future with impeccable performance. Hurry in to find what powers your journey at the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine.
Visit Valley BMW Center today for attractive lease and finance offers.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply.
All right, we're all set for the party. I've trimmed the tree, hung the mistletoe, and paired all those weird-shaped knives and forks with the appropriate cheeses. And I plugged in the Bartesian.
Bartesian?
It's a home cocktail maker that makes over 60 premium cocktails, plus a whole lot of seasonal favorites, too. I just got it for $50 off. So, how about a Cosmopolitan or a mistletoe margarita?
I'm thirsty.
Watch. I just pop in a capsule, choose my strength, and...
Wow, it's beginning to feel more seasonal in here already.
If your holiday party doesn't have a bartender, then you become the bartender. Unless you've got a Bartesian, because Bartesian crafts every cocktail perfectly in as little as 30 seconds. And I just got it for $50 off.
'Tis the season to be jollier.
Add some holiday flavor to every celebration with the sleek, sophisticated home cocktail maker, Bartesian. Get $50 off any cocktail maker at bartesian.com/cocktail. That's BARTESIAN.com/cocktail.
Thank you.
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Happy holidays! Or Merry Christmas for those of you who say, like, why are you saying Happy Holidays? Put the Christ in Christmas! Don't feel like you're going to get canceled if you don't say Christmas! Well, we also have some other holidays for other denominations out there, and we want to celebrate them all. Unlike some people in Shrewsbury, England, where it's known as Shrewsbury, who smashed a headstone for Ebenezer Scrooge.
What?
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Wait, isn't that a fictional character?
Exactly.
Why does he have a headstone?
Well, why does Michael Jackson have two crypts
I think that's weird, too.
in Detroit?
Yeah.
It's like, here lies Michael Jackson, but the lie is that Michael Jackson is here. It's just some shit that people left outside the Motown Museum. But Steve Platto, by the way, good dude, man.
It's a fun book.
That is. And I am going to buy one, and I am going to drive my brother around, and if he doesn't like it, that's all I got.
So what happened in Shrewsbury?
Oh,
Shrewsbury.
So vandals came to this plot, and it's outside St. Chad's Church. The St. Chad, by the way, patron saint of fraternity members. He's also often confused with St. Skip. But they smashed this headstone for Ebenezer Scrooge. Don't know why. The vicar is trying to get to the bottom of this, but he's a fictional character. And by the way, by the time Scrooge died, his heart had grown 8 times. Oh, that's the Grinch. But I mean, Scrooge, by the time he died, was a good dude. He should be celebrated.
Well, he does. He has a headstone, which is ludicrous.
Not castigated.
Does the Grinch have a headstone?
That's a good question.
We might as well. I'm silly.
Tune in next year to find out. But no, I this just kind of feels like wanton thuggery. What do they call hooliganism in the UK again? Vandals smashing the gravestone of a fictional character who, in the end, did realize the spirit of the holiday. No, for Christmas. I don't want any trouble. No more controversy. I don't want to get sued like ABC. So, unknown vandals in Shrewsbury, you are our geek of the season.
Do you agree, Shawn? Shawn's with us now.
Sure.
Shawn has been kind of chiming in on Geek of the Week. I think he's opened his heart to new things, which is inspiring to me. It shows that you're never too old to grow. Right, Shawn?
That's right.
See, there you go. There's a positivity.
Why does he have to say anything? You've been speaking for him.
This is a Christmas miracle.
No, I'll have get to the read and then okay. I'll be there.
Pro. That's a pro right there.
Well, there's the bossy Shawn.
He's a pro. He's a pro broadcaster, unlike some people.
Didn't miss so much. It doesn't take a Christmas miracle for you to have a more secure future, but it does take a plan and a man with a plan. So may I recommend that you contact Luke Nowacki and Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, as I have. Full disclosure, Luke Nowacki has never spoken to Corey Feldman, who's not in Steve Platto's book.
Or Ebenezer Scrooge.
Not unless he had a crystal ball. I don't think so. That's not how Luke works. He works scientifically, methodically, with numbers, not with notions. He's never talked to Corey for any reason whatsoever, but he would like to talk to you. So call him at 248-663-4748 and give the Drew Lane Podcast and ML Soul of Detroit a review, or Drew might stop paying his taxes. We, on the other hand, don't pay taxes because we operate at a loss, so this is all a write-off. But
where do I call Luke at?
I was thinking maybe 248-663-4748. And if perchance, Mark,
yes,
your question is, why would you call Luke?
Why would I call Luke?
Because he'll make it all about you, sweetheart.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. member FINRA-SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc. is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
We go from Geek of the Week to Chic of the Week, who always celebrates midnight at the Oasis. And today that Oasis is in Washtenaw County. Our friend, your favorite, Mr. Shawn Windsor.
At the Oasis for the song today? That'd be great.
Do you want to put your camel to bed?
You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know.
Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit BMWUSA.com for details.
Every day when you log into ChumbaCasino.com, the ultimate online social casino, you get a free daily bonus. Imagine if you got daily bonuses in other parts of your life.
I chose French fries over loaded French fries.
I asked Stuart from accounting about his weekend, even though I don't care.
I updated my operating system without having to call tech support.
Collect your free daily bonus at ChumbaCasino.com now. And live the Chumba life. VGW Group. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Let's find out.
Maybe you could suggest it and then forget about it. I'll remember it. We'll play it next week.
See you again.
There's an all-night party in 37609. All night, you've got the time.
This show is not for sale. We lost a major sponsor, and so we continue to turn to our audience for support. To those of you who bought our merch, thank you very much. It is being printed and is shipping as we speak. To those of you who are members of the Soulmate, thank you so much. To those of you who have made one-time donations, as the gentleman I'm about to reference did, we truly appreciate you. But this show is not and never will be for sale. So, just because Will gave us $2.50 on Venmo, that's not why we're going to play Highly Suspect's version of Send Me an Angel. We're going to play it, well, we'll tell you why on the back end of Highly Suspect's version of a new wave classic, Send Me an Angel. 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 Angel.
Gonna do that for 5 more seconds.
Angel. Angel. How much time do I hit the post? Angel. Damn it, I missed it.
Do you believe in love? Don't tell a lie, don't be false and untrue. It all comes back to you. Open fire on my burning heart. I've never been lucky in love. My defenses are down. I kiss all the frown. I can't survive on my own. And if the bell walks in and carves a name in my heart, I turn and run away. Every day we've all been led astray. It's hard to be lucky in love. I guess in your eyes it's making you cry. Don't know what to do, don't know what to do. You're looking for love, calling heaven above. Send me an angel. Send me an angel. Right now. Right now. Empty dreams can only disappoint in a room behind your smile. Don't give up, don't give up. You can be lucky in love. Guess in your eyes, it's making you cry. Don't know what to do, don't know what to do. You're looking for love, call it heaven above. Send me an angel, send me an angel. Right now, right now. Send me an angel, send me an angel. Right now. Right now. Send me an angel. Send me an angel. Right now. Right now. Please send me an angel. Won't you send me an angel? Right now. Oh, send me an angel. Send me an angel. Right now. Send me an angel. Send me an
Wow, an angel. Send me a priest. That seems like last rites are in order. That was,
Kind of drawn down.
I guess I would call it dirge-like. Maybe that's the best way to describe it.
What do you say, Shawn? Shawn's the expert on room 7609.
Who suggested this? What's the backstory here?
Boy, someone's in trouble.
This is Will, and I don't want to say that we were in any way persuaded by the $2.50 he accompanied with his message, but Send Me an Angel was originally recorded by Real Life, which was an Australian new wave band. They formed in Melbourne and had some early success in the mid-'80s with this song. The original is a much more upbeat, melodic tune. It is a great song. And if you don't know Real Life, you know some of the bands they opened for, also Aussie new wave bands. In Excess, The Church, Midnight Oil. And one of the things that always cracks me up is when you're looking at these references to bands like they toured with these bands. There's always like one band in there. You're like, well, why are you mentioning it? Nobody's there. So here's what Wikipedia says about Real Life. They opened for In Excess, The Church, Midnight Oil, MI Sex, and others. Why are you mentioning My Sex? No, nobody's ever heard of them. This does not increase your credibility. It's like Jake Paul beating Mike Tyson. It does not move you up in the rankings. That does nothing to bolster your credentials as a legitimate hit-making machine.
Did that answer your question, Shawn?
I mean, kind of. I just want to. I appreciate Will. Obviously, if he's contributing to the show, I think it's fabulous. And
Shawn, you're getting a quarter of that money.
I don't want to.
And by that I mean 25 cents.
Discourage anybody from sending it in. But as I listen to that, and by the way, there's a reason that you remain sort of an opening act. But I would say as I listen to that, I thought of the scene in The Sopranos where Adriana's got a bar and she's got a buddy with a band, and the band is awful, and she brings Hesh to listen to it, and he's like, no. So that
so your answer is no. for that song.
Do you remember the way? I don't know if anybody out there, Sopranos fans, whatever, but the way this band just kept droning and going on and on and on.
Well,
it
reminded me of the band in what's the detective show in
True Detective?
True Detective. Do you remember the band that droned on in the second season at the bar? That's what it reminded me of.
I can definitely see a murder montage with this playing, or the hiding of bodies or something. But
but not with any tension, not with that wouldn't create anxiety in terms of what you're watching. It would just be anxiety in terms of I got to stop listening to this. Right? It's not.
They'd need to be a lot of bodies, and we didn't check the times, Mark, but I'm fairly confident that this version is 30 to 60 seconds longer than the original recording. I think that's probably
I don't remember the original at all, and I was reading about it. And
Send me an angel. Send me an angel.
The movies Teen Wolf 2 and Red.
No, thank you.
Well, that's why you don't remember it. Who saw Teen Wolf 2? It didn't even have Michael J. Fox in it. It had Jason Bateman, though.
Yeah, a lot of people saw it.
Jason Bateman.
A lot of people saw Rad, too. That was a great movie.
By the way,
Rad?
Teen Wolf was actually
a
pretty good movie. Did you see the original Teen Wolf?
Shawn, wasn't it? Sorry, we're having 4 different conversations. Isn't it a BMX movie?
Maybe there's a BMX movie.
Unlike
we've talked about it on this show before.
That's Rad. I think Gleaming the Cube. I want to say it's a skateboarding movie.
Oh, another.
That might be a Corey Feldman movie, is it?
No, I don't know. Anyway, you listen to that song and you just imagine a movie scene or somebody's trying to impress somebody else, saying, "Hey, listen to these guys. Check this out. This is great," and everybody having blood come out of their ears.
Did anybody remember the basketball coach from the first Teen Wolf movie?
Yeah, vaguely, yeah.
The guy who was always like in a coma, and he's like, I know 2 things in life. Something like never hit on 20 and never play cards with a guy named Chicago.
Yeah.
I mean, he was kind of like this almost like narcoleptic guru.
Never eat spinach with a stranger.
Oh, Highland Appliance. Fantastic.
Someone got that reference.
Yeah. In fact, you can still go buy one of the original Highland Appliance stores on Woodward.
Yeah, it's doing great business now.
Yeah, now
what kind of business? I don't know.
They give you a 5-pound of crack if you can't beat their best deal.
Yeah, 50 watts per channel.
So I don't want to make you feel bad, Shawn, but the reason why Will suggested this, he says, back when you were asking for covers of new wave music, I suggested Send Me an Angel by Highly Suspect. Well, I'm doing that again, and the only story I have attached to that song is that I didn't know it was a cover, just knew it from Highly Suspect. Well, back in 2020, when you had to wear a mask when grocery shopping and only go in one direction down the aisle, the original was playing overhead at Kroger, and I started singing it and then realized it was the original. Will, by the way, the Scorpions also covered Send Me an Angel. I imagine it was a little more upbeat, probably did have some more of that grinding rhythm to it. And, of course, who doesn't love Klaus Meine? Best comb over this side of George Blaha. Also, another song off the same album is For Billy. This song reminds me of my best friend who passed away tragically at 29 years old. I don't know the backstory behind the song, but I'm assuming it's about one of his friends he lost as well. So play some Highly Suspect. Will, we appreciate the stories, which is what we always want, along with your suggestions for Room 7609. And we are very sorry to hear about your best friend. Definitely gone too soon. And we appreciate the $2.50. And Shawn, while you're busting Will's balls, here's how he closes out his message. Love the show, especially Shawn.
Aww.
Okay, bye, Will. So.
Everyone loves Shawn.
Room 7609. So thank you for your suggestions. Please keep sending them. You can send them to mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. If you send us suggestions, it keeps me from picking the songs. It does give Shawn an opportunity to pick the songs. He just can't ever remember what he picks. And Room 7609.
Listen to White Rabbit today, so.
And Room 7609 is brought to you by the Caju Cafe, the pride of the East Side, where you'll always find great eats, dope beats, and feather. Oh, Shawn he looks like Lloyd Bridges in Airplane. I guess he picked the wrong day to stop sniffing airplane glue.
He went from regular Shawn and vertical, and then you went to that S, which is fine. I like watching the S with no picture, and then all of a sudden you were just sideways. Horizontal.
That's
worth from horizontal. Yeah.
That's worth $5 a month in my book.
Yeah, no, somebody was calling in.
Shawn, I want you to make me a promise. I want you to start your week off right with Muscle Madness every Monday at the Caju Cafe, and they'll also have some great blues. And it's all you can eat mussels, by the way. Great kitchen, great sound. Wednesday is karaoke. Thursday, hear Ethan Mark with Indy Gwynn. Friday, it's First Rate. I bet you can guess which kind of covers they play. Any guesses?
No idea.
She married, didn't she marry? No, did Bonnie Raitt marry? She married Michael O'Keefe, right? From Caddyshack. I think.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. She married Noonan. And then they got divorced, and then she didn't miss it.
Okay.
On Saturday, Rattlesnake Shake, a tribute to Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac. Not that other Fleetwood Mac. This is Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac, okay? So you up here is Lindsey Buckingham, I think. They take the stage, and then you can end the weekend on a high note with Planet D No Nay on Sunday. For more on music and menus at the Caju Cafe, go to cajucafe.com, and you'll find a link to their website at our website, which is mlsoulofdetroit.com. When you talk to Luke, when you talk to the good folks at the Caju, tell them you found out about them from us to keep them coming back, and maybe you going back to them. Mark, a little music bed if you don't mind, Maestro. A little Max Prokop original dope beat here. We want to thank our new soulmate, Frank, a longtime supporter of the show, is now a regular supporter of the show, having joined the Soulmates. It's really easy. $5 a month is all it takes to get all these benefits we talked about. You get the show first, none of the insertion ads. You can watch the show. And I forgot, here's the real reason to give us $5 a month. Every month, you will get our bonus episode. And December's bonus episode, or is it January, Mark? Set me straight on this. December's bonus episode, posting soon. Alan Lee, spy novelist, former Fox 2 morning anchorman, helps you deal with some of life's most difficult problems. And Mark and I weigh in as well. So that's your bonus episode for December. You got to give us $5 to get it. Or now with Patreon, you can buy these bonus episodes individually. So if you want to go a la carte, we will take your money that way. Patreon makes it easy, so check them out. In addition to Frank, we have crickets, no other Patreon supporters. Frank was motivated because we lost one of our main sponsors, which happens on a regular basis. And so when you help us out, it keeps us coming back. So please consider joining us. We also have some feedback, and you know we love to hear from you. Oh dear.
What?
Dear. This people are sending sympathy for my India trip that got quashed, which you can listen to last week. Thomas says, I certainly understand the show's encouragement of bloviated requests for featured songs in room 7609. However, being that the blowhard hosts talk incessantly without leaving much time for others, I shall be brief. ML.L.'s admitting of over-imbibing at the Killer Cares event. I did not admit to that. I just said I had some bourbons. Mark suggested that I was self-medicating. Had me imagining said, quote, reporter, end quote, karaokeing to Root Boy Slim and the Sex Change Band's Boogie Till You Puke. So I think Thomas is suggesting some room 609 for next week. So we will be playing a Christmas song next week on Christmas Eve. But we may usher in the new year or January itself with Root Boy Slim and Sex Change Band's Boogie Till You Puke. Thomas, I guess thank you is the correct response to that. Dave writes, Mark!
What?
I pictured Elaine's trip to Myanmar to find Jay Peterman whilst you guys were talking about ML trying to travel 100%. To a wedding to India.
Yep.
I need to find and watch that episode again. Dave, why don't you check out Tom Mazaway, because I think it is probably playing in heavy rotation in Maz's man cave. But yes, for those of you...
I was just watching the episode where Peterman quits because he is in Burma, but you might know it as Myanmar.
If you didn't know the reference to Myanmar, you probably know it as Burma. Yes, wasn't he chasing the white horse?
I can't remember exactly why he stayed there, but then he hired Elaine, who just totally was not ready and became power hungry. It's a great episode.
That episode with the PTSD guy, where he helps design the
the fatigues. I think the episode's called The Fatigues. Yeah, he's in the mailroom.
Yeah,
and she's scared to fire him. So
he is so good and so deadpan. And at the end, it's like, it's just so hard to meet a single Jewish woman. And then it brings it all back to Frank and his Korean war PT.
Yeah. Don't stop short. Yeah.
Genius episode. And he does the whole catalog with Elaine, and then she realizes, wait a minute, he's nuts. And I just staked the whole catalog on this guy. Word to the wise, never purchase an urban sombrero. It's just not a good look. Oh, Lindsay. Lindsay is here to tell everybody that I was wrong. I hear this throughout my life, but now we're going to talk about it on the podcast, and that Mark was right. Dear ML, you misspoke on last week's episode. I appreciate that. Misspoke is true because I wasn't intentionally wrong. Dave Masseron, Esquire, has indeed moved from Wayne State University to General Motors. Now, we were talking about Mark thinks that wherever Dave goes, bad things follow. We were talking about...
Not necessarily bad. Very questionable things.
Mark is not a fan. I think
not
that's
at all.
fair to say. And we know Charlie isn't. I think Charlie even showed up at his door on a Sunday and knocked on the door and said, hey! No. And I don't think that went over really well.
What's your acronym for knocking on doors? What was it?
Goya Cod, get off your ass, knock on doors.
Did you come up with that?
No. The Washington bureau chief at the Los Angeles Times during Watergate came up with this because the Los Angeles Times, which at the time was one of the biggest and best papers in the country, was getting killed on Watergate by the New York Times and Washington Post. And he asked the people in the bureau, and at that time the bureau would have 30, 40, 50 people, why aren't we getting any of these stories? And people nobody's returning our phone calls. Nobody's talking. He said, get off your ass, knock on doors, and wrote Goya Cod on the wall. And they went out and they started getting some good
I'm glad I asked.
Stories. Yeah, absolutely. Lindsay says, 12 months ago, Masseron became GM's chief economic development and real estate officer. And the reason his name came up is we were discussing and debating the merits or the demerits of taxpayers providing GM or Dan Gilbert with $250 million in tax breaks to demolish portions of the Renaissance Center. Lindsay says that he is their point man on the Rensen reconfiguration. GM and Bedrock are seeking $1.35 billion in city and state funds and future tax capturing. I don't know if those figures are right, but let's just put it this way. We're not debating. It's a shitload of taxpayer support.
Tear it down. Go ahead.
I believe the man who had Masseron's role at GM back in the 90s when they first moved into the Rensen was Matthew P. Cullen. That is indeed correct.
Really?
Matt Cullen was one of the real estate wizards, and when they moved to the riverfront, Matt Cullen was very much involved in the redevelopment of the riverfront and trying to make that a livable and recreation area. Transform the riverfront. Matt was way ahead of his time and a leader in Detroit's sort of comeback of the late 90s and early 2000s.
Now, doesn't he work for...
Well, he left.
Work for Gilbert.
He left GM to go work for Dan Gilbert.
Yeah.
Then he went to work for one of Gilbert's casinos in Cleveland, and then he and some of his Gilbert associates bought the casinos, which I think really pissed Gilbert off. I think he was selling them, but he didn't know that Cullen and his group were interested in buying them. So he no longer works for Dan Gilbert, but he does. He does own, I think it's the Jack in Cleveland. Lindsay says, it's more Motor City musical chairs. I will tell you that Matt has been involved in a lot of civic-minded projects, including the Q line and a bunch of other stuff. Again, some of them haven't always gone as well. And I know Matt. I like Matt. Matt is a hardcore fan of Detroit. Matt was shot outside a party store in Detroit and continues to be a big booster of the city. I know he hated my column on the Q line, and I know that because he said, I hate your column on the Q line. But he's been a big supporter of Detroit. He was a big supporter of Kwame Kilpatrick, and I think he has some serious regrets about that. But he has been in the middle of some amazing and not so amazing transformative projects in the city of Detroit. Dave Masron does now seem to have a similar role with General Motors. So clarification from last week's show, Dave Masron is at GM, not at Wayne State anymore. And how involved he is in that deal, I don't know, but it does seem to beg credulity that he wouldn't be somewhere in that team putting that deal together. So, Lindsay, thank you for setting the record straight, and to anybody who was misled by my honest mistake, I apologize. I'm sorry. My bad. So
accepted.
Mark was right.
Shawn, you still with us?
Yeah, sure.
So, Shawn, we know you wanted to join us because you had some amazing contributions to make. This would probably be a good time to make them.
No. Joined you out of a sense of friendship and loyalty a little bit, and maybe even a touch of obligation. Yeah, so I don't have much to say.
You know what I think?
Your column did about the Lions, I'll tell you that much.
What did I say? By the way,
just that it's not over.
Did you guys? Well, it kind of is, but it
totally is.
I mean, there's maybe I wrote that it's highly unlikely, but there is a path. I mean, it's not like they've got an elite offense and that'll keep them around. If they get lucky, maybe they can do something. I mean, it's not completely over, but it's
the injuries, though, man. Oof.
No, it's
Montgomery.
Brutal. It's absolutely brutal.
McNeil and Davis.
I don't know if you guys talked about this earlier, but the feeling around Metro Detroit,
all the
Monday,
Scottish guys.
The way Monday felt, the way yesterday I guess felt, right, was really something. After the 11 straight wins, the ride, the way this region's reacted to this team and his historic team. I mean, they're a win away from all-time victories in a regular season. I assume they'll at least get that, but it's just, you could feel that, right, Mark? I mean,
because nothing seems more Lions than having a record-setting season and setting the record and then ending up with a wild card.
Oh. Shawn, were all those Bills fans there exalting at the victory?
Oh, my God.
You know, I can't believe you're going to say that. That's a private matter.
No, I'm just asking.
That's a private matter.
There must be people who were excited.
He's trolling me, Mike.
I'm totally missing something.
I'm asking a legitimate question.
He's trolling me about some backstage insider baseball stuff that our listeners just don't care about. You know what I mean?
If I came from Buffalo, I'd have been happy.
I got to tell you, that crowd.
I mean, I think the Lions were favored, weren't they, at home?
Yeah, by 2.5.
Yeah.
That crowd traveled like crazy. I mean, there were Bills fans all over the place.
Not really.
Oh, I thought so. I thought
not
so.
really.
That's a subject for a future episode.
We had friends from Rochester who were Bills fans.
Shawn, I want to.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that
I thought it was. I thought it was louder than when the Packers played there. I went to both games.
Maybe a touch, not much. I mean, it was
probably because they did better than the Packers did when they were here.
Yeah, no, it was
more to cheer for.
97% Lions fans. I mean, it was amazing how few Bills fans were there.
Shawn, I want to make a story suggestion, and I want to make it in a public way so that if you do it, I get all the credit. We get notices now from my Sunday Night Hockey League in Troy that say, if you're going to forfeit, you have to give us 3 hours notice. You have to notify this person. You have to notify that person. If you forfeit, it's rude. It's going to cost you a $50 fine. And I've been getting these messages for the last month or two. Now, we've been skating at Troy for 24 years. Forfeits have never, ever been a problem. And now we're getting these notices all the time. My game on Sunday was at 8:15.
Where are we going with
Hold on a
this?
second. Here we're getting there. My game was at 8:15, and I finally realized what it was. Hockey guys are blowing their games. They're forfeiting their games because they want to stay home and watch the Lions. This has never, ever happened before. And so if you're looking for one of those, like Freakonomics measures of how big Lions fever is, beer league hockey guys forfeiting their games so they can stay home and watch the Lions.
Tell me this privately. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I told you why at the beginning, because I want to get credit if you do this story.
I'll give you credit in the print.
He'll get a quote from him.
Although
that'll take up 4 paragraphs.
You never gave me credit in print for that idea I had that almost won you the sports writing Pulitzer. In fact, I think it did win you the sports writing Pulitzer.
Oh, about the rhinos?
About the rhinos. Great stuff.
I thought that was from Gene Myers, our former sports editor.
No, that was from me.
Now, Mark, we're really going into insider baseball here.
Yeah, I would say.
But I'm glad you thought.
Cyrus, take us out.
I'm glad you thought there were 50,000 Bills fans there at Ford
I didn't
Field.
think there were that many. I was just surprised how many there were. I thought they were louder than the Packer fans.
From where I sat. I mean, but I'm comparing it to all the years I've been to Bears games, Packers games. Trying to think, shoot, I was there for a Bengals game one time. It was 75% Cincinnati fans. It's just,
I think what it is Shawn, is they had a lot more to cheer about, and they're just louder anyway. Like before the game, they're just louder than Packers fans or Bears fans, who typically travel pretty well to Detroit.
Yeah, but they just have not the last couple of years. That's the point I'm trying to make. Is
sure, I agree.
Lions fans just aren't giving up their tickets like they used to.
Fully agree. Yeah, even despite the ticket price increases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, how do you guys feel about this? If there's a marquee game like that, and you can sell your tickets for enough to cover most of your season ticket costs, would you do it, or would you say, no, I got these tickets so I can be there for the marquee games. I am going to keep these tickets, even though I could make a king's ransom by flipping them on the secondary market?
So Sophie's choice or fandom, I'm not going to judge that at all.
Yeah, I often equate the Lions with Holocaust movies.
I've sold Michigan tickets, but still gone to the game, if that makes sense. I just find a different ticket. It's not as good as my seats. I'll find my way.
If somebody wants to sell it and do that, hey, that's
they're your tickets.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Mark and I are kind of libertarians when it comes to stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed. Why do you not?
Well, I mean, to me, I'm like, I want to go. But when I was running for city council, it's all about me, Shawn. When I was running for city council, the Michigan State game was in East Lansing, and it was less than a month before the election, so I could not go to the game. So I sold my tickets, and I sold them for enough money to pay my American Express bill that month, which it pained me to do that. And I think that may have been perhaps the most electric afternoon in East Lansing ever. But
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, when he should have been a Heisman finalist instead of that guy whose ass he tore up with all those touchdowns he had. But
except Aiden showed up in the big game of the year and dominated it.
Yeah,
big players playing big games.
Still Kenneth Walker had monster numbers in that game. But anyway,
big games.
I did sell my my tickets.
Oh, nice fan.
And made a lot of money.
Stop defending Michigan.
I couldn't be
Mark.
there. I had to pay for. Yeah, I was going to make this week's Geek Ward Emanuel or the people who keep giving him honors because
you feel free to make him
Clown Town. But he keeps getting all these accolades, which blows my mind.
Somebody likes him.
Nobody in Alabama, though.
Why don't you like him, Mark?
Nobody in Alabama.
He's just made a couple missteps that I'm a little weary about. Mel Pearson being one of them.
Just a couple.
I'm sure Elric has the whole list because.
No, I can't. I can't remember
because we live rent free.
And I never
never
forget things. I can't remember them all.
But lately he's made better steps. I don't. The Harbaugh stuff, he could have been a little tougher with Harbaugh.
Dusty May, great hire so far.
Yeah, and he
could be the next Beeline.
But he also did hire Jawan,
who was good to me.
He was great for the men's boxing team.
The whole volleyball coach thing is weird too, where you give the person an extension and then you fire them 2 months later. I don't know. There's just been there's a whole list of them somewhere. I'm not a big fan of his.
Me neither. On that note, we have agreed on something finally. Next week is our special Christmas movie episode. So if you're wondering what to watch over the holidays, get our curated opinion. It's great stuff. We hope that you have terrific holidays, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever it is. We'll be back next week.
Festivus, yeah.
Oh, Festivus, the one for the rest of us. Another Frank Costanza contribution to the culture. He's made so many, including his outstanding cabana wear, which we should all go out and get ourselves some cruise wear for those trips into the Mediterranean, other remote, beautiful, warm places.
Trying to drag this out.
Until next week, Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that? Can you dig it?
Yes, I was. I was trying to drag us out.
Can you dig it?
From the moment when the spaceship kidnaps
the soul of Detroit,
here are some of the incredible things you'll actually see as Santa Claus conquers the Martians. you hardly believe your eyes as a giant Martian robot captures
ML Elric.
The evil
Shawn Windsor.
Imprisons
ML Elric.
And Santa in a space death chamber. Will they escape?
Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Whatever the adventure, there's a BMW engineered to take it on. The X3 delivers a striking design with agile performance. The 100% electric i4 packed with pure electric energy. Or the plug-in hybrid X5, an impressive, versatile SUV granting full control on every journey. Choose what powers your next adventure during the BMW Road Home Sales Event. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Hurry in for exceptional offers through January 2nd. Visit bmwusa.com for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? If you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. Choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses. So don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.